The more you shine, the more shadows you cast. The higher you start to climb, the more difficult it becomes. Every day you are entering into new frontier. Everybody, no matter where they are, is able to transform something about himself or herself. So you make your choice. What of these two things is going to happen inside of you? Is it more light? Is it more dark?
What do you think is holding most people back?
At the end, it all leads to the one.
What do you mean by the one? I spent quite a bit of time thinking about where I would like to take this conversation. And I basically just sat down and thought about what would I personally like to know from you. And one thing that I was wondering about you as a person and your philosophy was your beliefs. It's a super generic question, but let me ask it anyway. What are your strongest beliefs?
So first of all, thank you all very much for taking your time coming here. I think you have also been pretty aware that in the last years, I'm spread all over the place. So that means I also receive a lot of requests to have podcasts and interviews and all things like this. So for me, it also has become very important actually with who I'm having this conversation. So that also means I did my research as well, or let's say my team also did it. And, you know, no matter what you carry inside, what you maybe call as belief, or what is your life philosophy or whatsoever, nobody can look inside of you. So which means if you carry something valuable inside of you, I think there must be a way also to express it. Meaning there must be a way to actually see how much of this internal personal development at the end have you for yourself put into practice, and how does it translate into your daily actions. I think in the past 10 years, 11 years, I was very aware whenever I'm using this word belief, because I think it is something personal from human to human, what belief is. But growing up and always being like technically oriented, let's say like this, I like to have proof. So just like from my character, I like to have proof. So for me, it's not a problem to listen to the advice of seniors, to listen to the advice of teachers or other people. But after some time, if there is no proof for the efficiency of that method, or for the efficiency or some type of truth of what they are saying, then for me it's not about I stick to that thought now because I believe in it. No, then I maybe try out other ways. So for me, I need to have proof. And that's why a lot of things in this lifetime right now have always been based upon I take teachings, Buddhist teachings, Shaolin teachings, Taoist teachings, Confucianist teachings, even Christian teachings. I try to understand what's the message behind it. And then I look into my life, I look into the daily structure and try to see, is there anything in my personal life, 24-hour days, 7 days a week, that I can relate to what this teaching is saying. So, and if I find something where I say, okay, maybe this is what is meant with this. Okay, then that means now I have something that I can apply, which absolutely starts to make sense for me. But if there is something like it is written in the text since 1,500 years and it has to be like this, and you just have to believe in it, in the beginning, yes, but after some time, if there is no evidence, proof coming, it's not that I'm saying I don't believe in it, but I need to keep observing. So that means there is nothing really fixed in the way where I would say this would be a belief. But what at the same time also has changed now recently, the last 1 year, 2 years, it's maybe strange to talk about it. But when I was 20, when I was 25, I already had the feeling, okay, I can see the things quite clearly. With 30 years, I thought I see it more clearly. With 35, I thought, okay, now the view is quite good. But within the last 2 years, also like many things happened along the way that, I think people would probably say I would be crazy to believe that things like this happen.
Can you give an example?
It's sometimes too much of a coincidence that I have something on the mind and a few days later, it just pops up. Or I get random emails that somehow have insight into things where I'm asking, where is this coming from? So this type of, I don't know how to call it, signs, signals, something like this. I don't know where they lead to or whatsoever. For me, it's just like that realization, okay, there is still so much out there that I do not know. And actually, because now we were talking already about like coincidence and maybe related with that also, sometimes you say we have coincidence on the one side, and then you have something predetermined, which meaning destiny on the other side. But just recently, because you also speak German, coincidence in German is called Zufall. Zufall meaning something falls towards you. So that means on the one side, you walk through this lifetime and then something falls to you. Mm-hmm. And so I was a little bit contemplating about it, and it absolutely fits to also my view of the past. Is your life in your hands? Yes or no? And my answer in the past used to be, there is something which is in your hands, and there is something which is not in your hands. So that means even if, let's say, even if it is written in the stars, you're gonna be a successful businessman, just as an example. This is like, maybe it's the destiny. But you are not putting the work down. You are not waking up early in the morning, you're not answering the emails, you don't educate yourself, you don't understand how the processes are working, none of this. Then even if destiny is maybe written down, but it's still not going to happen. Because your actions that you are doing are not fitting to what is, let's say, written down to your destiny. So for me, the search has always been what might be written down. So what is it maybe that, where is your path maybe leading to? And what are now the necessary steps for my side that I have to put in to fulfill that mission? And whenever I had the feeling in my life that this fits together, so I had the feeling I have to make this, I have to go to this country now. I have to go to this country. So I try to do everything in order to be able to go to that country. And when these things come together, somehow like a next step came for me. So something happened in that country, somebody I meet in that country that then somehow gives another layer now back to this life, where I had the feeling that, okay, seems to be like the next mission maybe, seems to be like the next challenge whatsoever. And this is where I say the things are not separated. So my search has always been, okay, I look what is the global spirit on the one side telling me, And what is my personal internal fire? Where does this want to go? And if these two things come together, I think this is, at least for me, I can only talk about my life. Until now, this is my guideline. Yeah, so if I have personal goals, but I feel it's not the right time for my personal goals, I don't push them. But if I feel like, okay, there are like, the constellation is right for something, I can feel the constellation is right. And then I put because this is the only thing that I can influence. I can influence my actions. I cannot influence what, let's say, comes to me. I cannot influence the coincidence. But once it comes, then I just ask myself, how quickly am I able to adapt myself in order to get in harmony and align myself with, let's say, this this next step. So, and this is my guideline. This is maybe what you would call my belief. But besides that, okay, there is maybe one belief which is, at the end, is the same. At the end, it all leads to the one. That's my belief.
What do you mean by the one?
We all have a root. Everything in this world has a root. Everything has a beginning in a way. Or at least a beginning in the sense that you can trace back where also us come from. Why do I dress the way how I dress? It's because of my past. Why do I talk the way how I talk? It's because everything that happened in the past. Why do I look the way in the face how I look? Because everything in the past. So now, but not just in the past, that I'm aware of being alive. Because like my face also, I think my ancestors, 20 generations before me, had the same facial expressions. So what it means for me is that from the far, far past, still some type of information, in this case, biological wise, is transferred into the present. Okay, so this is now we're talking about biological. Now in my worldview, let's say like this, I don't think we humans are only made out of biology or only made out of atoms, let's say like this. So besides the matter, besides the physicality that we have, it might be now a belief, I don't know. But for me, it's very clear that beyond the physicality, there is another layer about us that I, for example, would call, it's like a spiritual area. It is an area that you cannot put into form. I cannot show you. I cannot show you my mind. I cannot show you my energy. I cannot show you my spirit. I can show you my body. I can show you my organs. I can show you my skin, all of this, but I can't show you this non-physical area. But for me, it's in a way a logical consequence that these two areas, physicality and spirituality, those two go hand in hand. Now, from the physicality, I just said from past generations, things are being transmitted and are being transmitted into the present. So why not also in the realm of the spiritual area? Meaning information, things that past generations have learned, things that past generations have become aware of, have trained their consciousness. So why not this area would also have an impact actually on the person who you are today? So for me, it's not a question. For me, it's like this. Okay? So, and therefore, tracing back all of this, the question still remains, where are we all coming from? So, and this is where I say, your source is the same as my source. It's just along the way somehow we had different influences. That's why today we look different. And this one, I think this is for me, is the source. Other cultures, other nations, other countries, they maybe have different expressions to it. But for example, in Buddhist teaching, number one, I make it really simple. Number one is about you yourself become suffer-free, first of all, for yourself. And second one is develop the compassion to help other people, other beings, not just humans, to attain, or at least to get along the same path for personal liberation. So why is that compassion so important? Because ultimately we are connected. So simple expressed, it's like this. In this room right now, we are like 5 people. And now just imagine this room would be locked. And we have a limited amount of food, a limited amount of drinks. So if I would now just say, okay, good, I will just take everything to me. So as long as I survive, it's all good. You all can suffer. It automatically has caused conflict. Now, so it's just a question of time until we're going to break out in a fight. Why? Because in Buddhist teachings, we say it is impossible to become happy, satisfied, free on your own. Why? Because you are connected. So there is only one way to really sustainably remain somehow in peace, remain somehow in peace. And that one is to look for a way that we all are connected and share what we have. Either we all succeed or we all fail. That's it. But it's not possible that an individual within a society succeeds alone and the others suffer. Then the conflict is embedded already in the core of this approach.
How do you think this concept applies to business?
When I see business as a type of exchange, which means in order to receive a service, in order to receive a product, in order to receive an article, anything like this, if you have to exchange something for it, on the one side, this can mean it's money, but on the other side, sometimes it can also mean it is work that you are investing. Ultimately, it is lifetime. So for me, the exchange is always between lifetime and what you want to have. And there it's now different, because some people maybe they earn a lot of money based on what they are doing, and other people maybe do the same work but they earn less, depending on which country they are living in. So that means the relationship to the value of what you can give and what you receive, this makes it really, really difficult to, let's say, have fixed prices. In this world, it's very difficult to have fixed prices for something, because in one country, people would be able to afford, in another country not. So there already, it's embedded, for me at least, how to find a way to still keep this in mind. At the same time, I'm a big friend of balance, which means in German we have that saying, if something costs nothing, it's nothing worth. So that means if you receive everything for free, what do you do with it? You take it home and you throw it in the corner. And so that means there's no value that you are adding actually to what you have received. You are not appreciating what you have received. So now, in order to make your lifetime, or in order to not waste your lifetime, I think it is mentally a really, really good practice already at the same time to be careful and cautious for what you are spending your hard-earned money. But when you are spending it for something, I hope you spend it for something that is important to you and that maybe also is adding some type of value into your life. And if this takes place, so on the side of the receiver, you are appreciating what you get, you are valuing what you get, and on the other side of the provider, you are really giving the quality out in order that the life and the value of the money that has been earned is also met. So I have no problem at all to say that this type of business is a good way, because it's a win-win of both sides. But giving things out for free, no, my observation in the past is simply then people don't train as hard, people don't invest as much time as they could, because it's the same way why also now for us many years ago we moved a little bit away from giving out too many things for free. You still see there are like 60, 70, 80 hours of free material everywhere. Also if you go on YouTube. But now comes the point. Because everything is like training, the training videos I'm talking about. If you go on YouTube and today you feel like, okay, you slept well, you have a lot of power, so you look for power sessions or anything like this. So you make your choice. Next day, on Tuesday, you didn't sleep so well because you were drinking last night and slept too long or whatsoever. Then you wake up and you choose relaxation exercise. So you are choosing what you're in the mood of doing. Yeah, but this is not the philosophy of my life, because it's not meeting how I see actually this life is. It's not that we always can wish about what is going to come in our lifetime for us. So it's the wrong message that you can choose in a way that you can choose. Today I have power, I make power training. Today I'm tired, I make relaxing training. Then the third day, the second teacher I don't like so much, I choose another teacher, make another practice. Yeah, but this is like free choice, yes, but free choice with no direction, with no development. Why? Because in order to develop, it is exactly these points where you don't want to do it, and because you don't want to do it and you still do it, this is the area of growth. And it's not the free choice all the time.
It's like the responsibility of a guide to guide, and the benefit of it too. The accountability, the direction, which if you're just browsing YouTube videos, you just don't get that there's no guidance, right? Like the search bar is kind of like, and the algorithm is kind of like throwing stuff at you. You said something earlier that reminded me of visualization. So you were talking about the path that we take, the accomplishments that we have, and it reminded me of something that I discovered super late, like maybe 2-3 years ago, which is visualization. Looking back at the times in my life when I had the biggest jumps in accomplishments and the most rapid progress was when I had a clear vision of where I want to go. When I play sports, tennis, for example, when I visualized I'm going to play the ball in this corner, that's when I succeed the most. What's your take on visualization? Specifically when it comes to well, actually any kind, be it like super small in everyday life or all the way up to like general life goals.
When you talk about visualization, I could easily replace it in the way how you just describe it. I try to feel it already. Yeah, so for me it's more I sense the goal already. It's similar like in the training that we're doing, for example. There are the so-called forms. They look like choreography with like fist punches, jumps and kicks and all of these things. It's like a fixed choreography. So in the very beginning, first of all, you have to spend a lot of time remembering actually each movement, how it looks. But after some time, You don't have to think about it anymore, because actually your body, let's say, the movement has entered into your body. It has become flesh and blood, let's say like this. So, and now still after some time then, even when you lie in the bed and the body is not moving, I can still walk this form. I can still like do this choreography lying in the bed, in the mind. But it's not I think about it. It's I can sense exactly like which area of body now would be active. It's just that I don't express it with the body. Yeah. So this is now, for example, one small type of practice when it comes to martial arts, what I do in order to more quickly try to understand. So even when the body is not moving, I still do the movements inside. Very fine movements. So that means on the one side, it has something to do with awareness. If you don't have body awareness, you can't do it. Therefore, in the practices that we do, number one is develop body awareness. What happens after some time is you're becoming more fine and more fine for yourself and for everything that actually goes on inside of yourself. When this awareness becomes more fine, you will also realize then, for example, if you think about a future idea, if you think about a future goal, you can actually sense and feel inside what the reactions of your body is. If he is like rejecting the idea that you just projected, or if you feel some resonance with it. Yeah. So, and this is a way of where I normally integrate it into all areas of life, of course, as well. Meaning, when I set myself a goal that I really want to have, I have no doubt about it. I only need to have patience. I need to be clear and calm to really figure out the proper plans, how to do. And then, meanwhile, there is no doubt in that sense, because I feel, if I really want something, the energy must be there. My mind must be there. If my mind is there, my energy is there. Okay, and there we have sometimes these nice Asian sayings. Whatever is important to you, where your heart is, there is the mind. Where the mind is, so where the intention is, there is the energy. Where the energy is, there's the creation. So, if your heart is hanging on something, but your actions are doing something else, that just means your energy and what your heart really wants, they are not merging at all. So the universe doesn't know what do you want, what should the universe give you now. So for me, it's all about alignment. What I feel inside aligns with what I talk, it aligns with what I think, it aligns with what my actions do, it aligns optimally with the proper circumstances. And when everything is aligned, then the energy can just flow. Then it just flows and it just happens. This is for me my understanding when we talk about these type of things, visualizing, sensing, feeling already, contemplating about something. Yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it. For me, it was always totally about the destination and the goal. And I think, it's been only recently that I realized more that it's like everything working together. Like you said, intention, action, thoughts, even the things that you say. I would like to talk about authenticity with you. Do you believe in the concept of living authentically, or does it? I feel like you kind of touched on that in what you said already, but what comes to your mind?
It's a very, very nice topic that you're naming this, for example. Because if you Google my name right now, then like always something pops up where I mostly, in the past especially, had a lot always my uniform on. I always represented and identified this monastery from here. When I was speaking always from the sides as a representative of this monastery. Okay? So on the one side, because I saw it as my obligation to do so, but I very quickly also realized that people start to create an ideal and start to create like I don't know how to say. They start to create an illusion which is just not existing. Because I make it now very harsh, very, very simple. But right now we are having, let's say, this interview for 2 hours. So what am I doing the rest of the 22 hours? This is nowhere visible on any social media. Nobody knows what I'm doing the other 22 hours. So that means if you would limit my being or only to what you see about me and what I talk about on YouTube, then I would definitely say it's an illusion. But it doesn't mean that when I'm speaking like this right now, that it's not authentic and that it's not real what I'm talking about right now. When I do my training, I'm very serious about my training. But I'm also serious about when I have time to meet up with my friends, then my awareness is completely with my friends. And I don't necessarily talk anything about training. Yeah, so it means I grew up now 40 years being here in Germany most of the time. So I know quite a lot of people. And for me, what is always the same from morning till evening, what the authenticity for me is about, is what type of guidelines, what type of character attributes are you taking from each area? Because the clothes, sometimes I change during the day. Okay, but what does not change is like some core values that I think is important to keep. The ones that I talk about in all the videos. So all of these things, they find an expression in my life, no matter in which area I am. And yeah, and this fits exactly to the message that I'm telling, also in trying to really make this clear. Nobody needs to, and the humanity, the 8 billion people, will never be able to live inside a monastery. The majority will just not have this possibility. So, does it now mean you can't have a purposeful and life which brings you joy? No, it doesn't mean that. The monastery, these circumstances here, if you want to have condensed, deep practice, this is the way. Why? Because for 30 days, for 1 year, for 2 years, depending on how long you want to stay in the monastery, what it means is you're cut off by the normal disturbances that come from the society outside. And you can completely focus your time in your personal development. This is the most effective, the deepest, and the most transformative time that you can spend, in my opinion. So, but it doesn't mean that afterwards you cannot return out anymore and now start to integrate your internal transformation into the world that you have been living all the time. Okay? So this is a personal choice. How much of this internal development do you want to go through? But everybody, no matter where they are, is able to transform something about himself or herself. It's just about the methods and the understanding that, first of all, it's possible. Second of all, there are methods how to do it. Yeah. And third of all, you don't need to wait for anybody to come into your life in order to start it. So the message is there is a big part that you have in your own hands. And there's a big other part you don't have in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, maybe it would be good to focus your energy into the things that are 100% based on your own energies and your own actions. Yeah.
What do you think is the key to living authentically?
First of all, the possibility that you are able to observe yourself. So if you can't see yourself, if you cannot observe your own actions, observe what is it that's going on the mind, then it's really difficult to make to make a differentiation between, are you authentic now or are you not? Yeah, are you lying to yourself or are you not? So number one step is you need to be able to observe yourself. So second one is you need to be able to criticize yourself. So if at all times you always say, I'm the best, there's nothing I can improve myself in, I'm almost godlike, so then there is no development coming. Okay, but now exactly those two things that I mentioned, observing yourself and then being able to criticize. Number one, you need awareness in order to do the observation. And number two, you need strength in order to take the criticize that you give to yourself. So awareness and strength. And this is the reason why it is so good to have physical exercises integrated into your lifestyle, that all the time are having these two areas embedded into the training already. It's like if I have to make my form, yeah, and all the time I have to be aware that the fingers are, let's say, like this, or sometimes they need to be like this or like this. So if I have to be aware all the time, where is what? This is improving the awareness. And because the training is so difficult, so hard all the time, that is the moment that makes you strong, that is building up your confidence, that is building up your ability to take the beating. Yeah. So this is also like the approach that all the time, what I'm actually trying to promote. That everything can be changed by the way how our mind is looking at ourselves and into the world. It's all about the mind. It's all about the mind. But in order to change the mind, we need something. Awareness and strength, for example. But how do you get to strength? How do you make the mind stronger? How do you make that yourself become more aware? We cannot just sit and wish, okay, I want to be more aware. I want to be more strong. No, we need an additional instrument in order to be able to cultivate it. And this instrument is the body. For me, it's the body. So by using the body and putting your body into a challenging position, into a challenging exercise, that is why now, because your body is shaking, because your body is under stress, this is now why we have the chance to improve the mind. Because now it's the mind power that can determine what your body should do and should not do. This is that relationship. At the end of the day, it's about the mind power that we want to have. But we need the body to cultivate everything that we would like to have there. Yeah, so I also think that this is that specialty maybe about the various teachings that are existing, because many of them are maybe study-based, book-based, I don't know what based. And at least this way of what we try to share, it's physical and mind-based. But the physical part is just the entrance.
It's interesting because this was going to be my next question. Do you think that transformation can happen without significant challenges or hardships?
No. There is really that simple saying, also fits very well together to what we said in the beginning. Without limitation, there is no progress. because to realize this is my limit, I don't feel comfortable at this limit. That's why I make that one single step across the line. I cross the line, I cross the limit. That's why you grow. That's why that cycle, that circle of that circle of comfort starts to expand. Yeah? Only if you know where your limits are, you know what is binding you, you know what is holding you down. And that's why that small step, always more, continuously small steps, not big steps. But when this becomes like a part of your lifestyle, that figuring out where's my limit, and one step more. Figuring out where's the limit, next step. Continuously. Automatically what it means is every day you are entering into new frontier. Meaning new area that before that you have never seen before. Why? Because you always stopped at the limit. Because you always stopped at the borderline. Yeah. So no challenge. I don't think it's possible to have some type of growth embedded to it.
When you look at society and the people maybe that come to see you here, or in general, right? Like, I mean, you just said yourself, you know a lot of people. Obviously, you meet a lot of people through your work as well. What do you think is holding most people back from, I guess, from achieving the things they want to achieve, or from living the life that they want to live, or becoming the person that they actually want to be?
I think on the one side, it is the complexity of life. So one thing is, because there's too much going on, there are too much options that people maybe can choose from. That's why it feels like sometimes they are getting lost in too many different things. So, meaning for me, when I look at it, the energies just starts to spread all over the place. But if I want to finish with some certain type of work, it is finished the quickest when I focus all my energy to that one and do nothing else. But if I have this project and I have this, and then I have a family, and then I have a wife, and then I have children, and then I have more and more and more, and I have to share my thoughts all the time, number one, your energy starts to spread. And second of all, everything just gets longer and longer. So this is one thing that is that I can see. The next thing I can see is it's the lack of energy itself. The lack of energy resulting mainly out of the fact that too many people are sitting too much. There is too much work, meanwhile, being done in this world, at least from the people that I meet, let's say like this, where their daily week, their daily month, is consisting of sitting. So there is no physicality inside there anymore, where you could actually channel your energies and express them in some way, getting the energy to express itself from time to time. So what does the energy do? Instead of flowing and nourishing the body, it gets stuck sometimes. Because of the sitting, it just also gets stuck and then goes maybe into your head or goes to wherever it goes and creates all type of problems. Mental problems, emotional problems, physical problems. But many of these things simply because of the lack of motion, the lack of using the body. If the one would have the idea that we are supposed to come to this world and just like sit in our room and do all our thinking work and create a life by thinking, well, then maybe the life would look like this. But we have been giving hands and arms and feet and all of these things, I think, because it's different it's different to touch. It's different to touch the earth, it's different to touch the tree, it's different to touch the dirt, it's different to touch the water, it's different to walk, it's different to jump, it's different to run, it's different to swim than just like looking at all these things on the screen. how a tree looks and how the water looks and whatever. So that means this digitally based consumption instead of the real deal, the real simple stuff, going out of the house and just like step on the grass. This is what is creating a big shift for the mental states, I think. Yeah.
You're obviously a teacher and a guide, and you've taught many people. But I want to talk about that, but I would like to first talk about you as a student and a learner. What's your approach to learning?
My biggest motivation has always been seeing someone who's better. Because for me, it's like just two things. He's human, I am human, he can do it better than me. So I just have to train more. Elsewise, there is no excuse why, what makes the other human like more superior than me, nothing. Only my own training, let's say, is it what keeps me still like small. So therefore, in the field of martial arts, in the university, no matter where, it has always been, it doesn't feel comfortable maybe, because sometimes you still have a very high view or high ego about yourself, but it's definitely one of the things that made it very helpful for me to get this motivation and just work harder. So also the same thing when the close circle of your friends, when they sometimes even when they criticize, then it actually hurts even more. So one more reason to train even harder. And so I wasn't talking a lot. That definitely not. And maybe one thing that is now, when I compare also to how I perceive my students today and how the students or my master brothers that I practiced together were in the past, our teachers gave us less. They gave us less. But because it was so little, for us it meant a lot. And so every free time, not just during the training time, also like going home in front of the mirror, like going to the swimming to the swimming pool, and when there was free space, still practicing. So there was more really that urge that, hey, we have something special right now. Let's push it. Only that one. So, and this is what I feel today is a little bit, it's different. Yeah. So regarding the masters that I see, it's just different, because during training times, it's okay. When the training time ends, also like the training ends. And this was not how I had it, at least in the way how I was learning in the different areas. So when something was important to me, I kept going. And if the day was long, I had a long time to practice. Yeah, and so this is at the end also what I think. If something is really important in your life, then your lifetime should go a lot into that direction. And so if your mind is focused, your actions that you do are not lazy actions, they also fit together. I really think there is no secret behind. If you put in the work and the circumstances are also right, and you put in the energy and the determination and your heart hangs behind it, there is no reason to not say it's going to happen. Yeah, it's as simple as this.
What do you think, if you had to say one thing that you think most students or people who want to learn something are doing wrong?
I really think is, I would say patience, probably. Yeah, patience. But also, I'm saying it right now because it also fits actually to the way of how let's say, technological wise, everything is developing. It's super fast paced. So meaning also the mind is super fast paced. And so you want to eat something, you don't want to wait 10 minutes to get your food. Best is you push the button and it directly comes out what you want. That would be the best in order to not like waste your lifetime. Okay, so that means in everything that we do, in a way we have been conditioned already, fast would be more beneficial. But not in that case. But not in the case when it comes to really trying to develop something deeply inside of you, which is sustainable for your lifetime, then it's not happening fast. It's a drop by drop development where you don't even feel the difference from day 1 until day 7 because the drop is too small. But if your mind all the time is looking for the big changes, I did my training now 7 days already, why I see no difference in how I look, it doesn't bring anything, the training, okay, I stop it, I have to look for something else. Yeah, and this mentality is just, it's different, but it's not the proper one to build up something sustainable.
What I'm hearing is you talk a lot about scarcity versus abundance, and abundance being a like potentially being a bad thing, right? Technology, information, I mean even food, things in life in general, right? And it seems like in this world, if we want to accomplish things, be it for us personally, be it physical progress, strength, or generally in life, we need to find the discipline with all this abundance to focus on what really matters. How do you think we can do that? Internet, TikTok, you see a million reels at once. You go to the supermarket, you can buy everything you want. I mean, at least in this part of the world. And everything is there that you want, right? You could just sit back, get fat, not do anything, and that's it. But that's not what I would consider like a life that is fulfilling and would make us happy.
But now for you, in the way how you express it, there's already the answer. So in a way you see the abundance, I call it right now, in the outside world. The abundance is around you. Yeah, but the abundance is not inside of you. So outside of you, you see, okay, everything is available. Yeah, but the question is, how does it inside feel? And based on what, for example, you say is, you realize that the abundance on the outside is not what fills that hole on the inside. So, and this is why exactly this approach that I also try to develop myself in is, the abundance is never going to be found on the outside. This type of abundance is not going to make you full. So the search is for, how can you on a daily basis already wake up being full? Already wake up without searching. Because this is how I regard as many things that are available nowadays to us on the outside, also technological wise. Our parents didn't have it, our grandparents didn't have it, other generations also didn't have it. So the thing is, in the past it was not needed. It's just like a trend, it's just like a development for our recent generation, but it's nothing that you need. In 100 years they will have other things which are abundant in that type of sense. But what has always been the same is that everybody has always been looking for how to become full on the inside. So, and this is why all the time it is about the perspective upon the perspective, what you have put upon yourself, with what lenses you are watching into the world. And if you are waiting for this world outside there to solve your stomach, your empty stomach, it's not going to happen. So, but people sometimes to get to this realization, people sometimes have to go different pathways. And one of these pathways means you have to become rich first. You have to be able to afford the abundance of the outside world. You have to be able to like maybe live a little bit what you have been dreaming about all these years, until you realize still empty. Maybe it was an exciting time, yeah, but that exciting time was like, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then that was it. And maybe then some type of change of mindset, some type of approaching life differently starts to happen. So some people, first of all, they need to have it to understand that's not it. Other people, but that is maybe more rare, they can already learn because they have observed the past, they have observed their surroundings, they have written or read the text, so the observations, the ones that observe all the time, they can see already the consequence, the cause and effect. They can see the interplay of all of these things. And so for them, they don't necessarily need to have it, they can already see it. It's not, they can see it, that's not it. So that's why they a little bit earlier, or even without having the things, also already started to redirect their life. You know? But at the end of the day, I think it's the same conclusion. It's nice, it is exciting, it's beautiful, it's great to be able to immerse yourself from time to time into the possibilities of what this world has given to us. But it's not the most important. So the approach for me would be, first of all, find yourself, if you would call it like this. Be content, first of all, simply said, be content, be full, wake up and be ready, and already be ready, waking up and knowing everything you need, here it is. That's it. And now, whatever comes during the day doesn't really matter, because you know that it's there, it's full, it's complete. You have been complete already. And with this completeness of yourself, then now you can engage in the things. You can enjoy your time. That is not a problem, because you know already the basics, or the foundation of your life. It's here. It's stable. It's stable. It's solid. You cannot shake it. It's there. But then now, going here, going there, doing this, doing that, is all not a problem. So that is also like the misinterpretation that people say, yeah, so should I not do the things that are available today? Should I not go on the beach if I like to go on the beach? Buy a nice car if I like to buy a nice car? Jump from the parachute if I like to jump? I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, if your satisfaction about life, your fullness of life is dependent on these things, then it's a problem. Because they will not be available to you at all times. Because the availability of these things is not because of what you want. It's because of how the circumstances are. And so the idea is, find yourself, build yourself up, invest in yourself, make yourself stable, figure out your place in the world, and afterwards, when this is established, now enjoy the world. This is what I'm saying.
We talked about your approach to learning. What is your approach in philosophy to teaching and to being a guide?
It might be that people regard me as a teacher, might be regard me as a master, all of these things. But it started super simple. I did my training. Because of the training, I started developing different skill sets, mainly in the field of martial arts. Then people started to ask me, why can't I do it? How do you do it? How did I learn it? And so I started explaining. So that means because of the interest of people wanting to know how I do certain things, this is the reason why I talk. Elsewise, I have nothing to say. Okay, and this is how step by step within the last 20 years, 22 years, I started more or less to grow into this area of where people regard me as a teacher, regard me as a master, or when they have questions, come to me, because, I don't know, because they see that the questions that they ask for their life, I have solved in mine. And my approach has always been, you cannot give what you don't have. So I cannot teach you anything if I don't have it. If I don't have the answer to it, I can't teach it to you. So how can I solve your suffering? In a way, I need to be able to had that suffering in my life before already, in order to be able to give you at least a few inspirations how you could maybe now solve that problem. Yeah.
It kind of all goes back to authenticity, right? That you say the things that you know and don't pretend to know the things you don't. So what do you think, and maybe you sort of already answered that in the previous answer, what do you think makes a good teacher? Because like the way that I'm thinking about this question is, how do you actually help others learn and actually transform, right? They come to you because they want some kind of transformation. They want to learn something. They want to absorb something, right? They look up to you.
Actually, it fits very good to the family tradition. Let's say I can only speak because I'm from an Asian family. If I needed some care, if I needed some calm voice, if I needed some understanding, I went to my mother. Yeah, why? Because if I come with the same topics to my father was for me not the person to give me understanding. My father was not the person to give me comfort. He was the one to prepare me for the life to come. So what it means now, I make it simple. My father was there to make life hard for me. Why? Because he knows one day the parents will be gone, I will be on my own, and so better my father prepares me now for what's going to come. Then I'm being thrown in the world, not knowing how to react to all the challenges that come. So father figure has always been the one. He's the one showing me my limits. He's the one making it hard for me. He's the one who made me grow. And the mother was the comforting one. Okay, this is for me very clearly how it also was like for me. So now, when we talk about the tradition within the field of martial arts, people sometimes refer to teachers or to masters as shifu. Shifu translated meaning teacher or father. And this is exactly the thing. So when people come here, there is a big... People need to understand, when people come here also visiting us, or I go somewhere and have seminars or workshops, I'm not the person to comfort them. My job is not to give them a good time. My job is to look, okay, this is the limitation that he has or she has right now in her life. Okay, let's bring this out. So let's push it a bit to the limit in order for that person to grow. So this is very important to understand, that even sometimes if I have this like nice talking and all of this, talking is the one side, when I teach is another side. And that means people need to maybe understand a little bit. Certainly between a good teacher and yourself, you will always feel there is a type of distance. So sometimes I hear in this area that, yeah, but if you can talk at the same level of eyes, if you would be on the same level, isn't that like the best way learning together, like two friends? I think no. I think that when you go into a relationship with a teacher or anyone, let's say I want to know how to build a house. I don't know nothing, so I'm looking for a master who is able to build houses. So already by approaching that person, I know that his level of experience is up here and I am down here. And so it is very clear for me that my position is down here, asking, please show me how to build the house. Yeah. So which means the communication at the same time for me is also, it's not for me about talking. It's about he is talking and I'm receiving. Yeah. So, but if it's like a friendship, it's like, look, you have to put the stone like this. But are you sure? I saw it somewhere, it's made like this. It's wrong. This is not the way how I at least imagine things to be. Yeah. And so this is why I think there must be a very clear distance between the receiver and the one who is sending or giving.
Do you think there's a mindset that you've seen in other teachers that holding them back from changing more lives or helping people more?
Well, I think this is now maybe not only related to teacher, but related to the general fact that in the moment where someone in any type of area realizes he has some type of power, the question is if that power, in which way is this power used? And sometimes this power can just bring out corrupted natures. Yeah, which means even if somebody then is in a teacher position, it's not used to actually spread and share more knowledge. It's just, I don't know, to build up some other type of role, meaning being corrupted by the power. Knowing because you have so much influence, because so many people listen to you, that's why you start to, I don't know, build up your dream world. So this happens, but not just related to the area of martial arts or teachers or philosophical guides or anything like this. I think it's happening everywhere where people have some type of power. So, but that only speaks for the lack of character, the weakness of character, which is so easily being corrupted by power. So, and therefore, again, building up character, building up something sustainable, building something up where you can look into the mirror. But look into the mirror, and if you see that is wrong, you also have to say that, okay, that one was wrong, meaning your ability to criticize. And somebody who has power and is corrupted, that's exactly what he does not have, to criticize himself. So this is all where I see like the relations. Why during the training it is so important to take care of these things. Awareness and your ability to criticize yourself. Because only like this you can always see if you are finding yourself along the right path.
I think a lot of young teachers are struggling with imposter syndrome, thinking that maybe they're not enough or being insecure. What do you think about that? Do you think that's just a normal part of like basically growing up as a human and moving towards a role?
I think it is embedded into the nature of us humans that we are looking for expansion. We are looking for something bigger than us. This is our, in my view, let's say like this, it's inside of us. There is something which wants to expand. So now, in the way how somebody is educated, in the way how our world nowadays is set up, there are things where this world is telling you in which way you are supposed to expand. This can mean expand in terms of career. So Yeah, it's about financial expansion. It's about expanding the amount of titles of, I don't know, this type, yeah, of the academic expansion of yourself. And if you don't pay attention, and if you have no alternative, then hearing from the moment as a child that go to school, do this, then that this is the level of expansion. If this is the alternative, and you're not careful, you might really start to think that this is the way. So, and if this is in the mind, if this is the condition of the mind, then I think it's very natural that this type of approach is not working for every human being. Why? Because first of all, it's just one way how you can manifest the wish for expansion, the wish for growth into one area. The more important perspective would simply be expand beyond the person that you are today. So don't compare yourself to anything on the outside or what other people are telling you where to expand. The expansion is in regards to yourself, in regards to your own mental abilities, physical abilities, if you want to make it simple. Today, you are here with certain mental and physical abilities. Just make sure next day it's different. Mentally, you have learned something new, some new information, read a new book, whatever. Physically, you do something physical, of course. This is something which is only in your hands, where you have no comparison with something where you have no influence on, and it is the right way. Investing into the expansion which naturally we have, yeah, but it's about our expansion. It's not about we sacrificing our lifetime to fulfill the expansory wishes of, I don't know, of who? Of people you compare yourself with that you even have never met in this lifetime or whatsoever. Place it on yourself. You yourself, you are the benchmark.
Can you define expansion?
Expansion, opening. Things become more light. Things become more clear. This is, I would say, is like let's make it simple. Yin and yang, for example. Where's opening, there is closing. Where is like free flow, on the other side, you have stagnation. Okay, so everything we do on our daily basis, in the moment where we talk with people, in the moment where you are taking decisions, in the moment where you are making plans for the future, if you are aware, if you have some type of awareness for yourself, you can sense already, if I'm going to make this decision, what of these two things is going to happen inside of you? Is there coming more light into your life, or is there coming a little bit more darkness into the life? Is it a burden into your life, or is it actually something which frees up, like something falls down from your heart, the stone falls from your heart? Is it more light? Is it more dark? So, and I think this expansion is that one. Meaning you feel like, oh, okay, there is something growing. Your heart is opening. The love for life is increasing, not the hate for life. I hate this life because I have too many obligations. So this is to simplify when I say, how does this expansion feel? Yes, everybody needs to feel this for himself. That's why I cannot tell you what causes expansion for me. Maybe it is not causing expansion for you. It's not about what we do on the outside. It's about how your internal world is reacting to the things that you are doing your life. That's why it's individual. That's why also like I'm not a person propagating one type of exactly way of life. It's not going to happen. The only thing is I have some guidelines and I can feel and sense inside myself, for me, when I do decisions that are keeping me small and when I do decisions that I feel that feels right. And it's not just benefiting myself, it's also benefiting more people. Then that decision is very clear for me.
We were talking about teaching and your approach or philosophy to teaching. You have a really big online following, so I assume that you also deal with criticism and haters. And how do you deal with that? What's your approach to that?
My zodiac is Pisces. So first of all, very interestingly, I just also realized very early, I never seen it's just one of them. It's always two. And as Chinese zodiac, I'm a pig. And pigs always known for more or less easygoing, but they need harmony. So I consider myself a person, I like harmony. I appreciate and I value when in my surroundings there is no big conflict, when everybody has his space and it's harmonic. So therefore, whatever I did, no matter where I traveled, who was in my surroundings, I was always the one trying to keep the harmony for everyone. When I felt somebody is sad, somebody is depressed, whatever, I always try to find a solution. I always made the other person's problem and suffering to my suffering. And try to make it that everybody in this room must feel okay, then I'm okay. If only one is not okay, I don't feel okay. So, and for many years, when the groups were still small, this approach was also more or less not really a problem. Of course, I felt like that, how can it be that I always take the suffering of others to me? And yeah, and I just always told myself, yeah, because you can take it and the other people not. That's why you just have to do it. So I continued. But now, the bigger, for example, everything became, the more people started to follow, the more comments starting to pop up everywhere, I realized more and more that something goes there hand in hand. And I expressed it actually in one of the last videos of the years. I think it was, yeah, the more you shine, the more shadows you cast. Because this is exactly what I realized. On the one side, I was seeing, okay, there are many people really benefiting from all these teachings, which made me very happy. But in the same way of how, where this area started growing, I also realized like the force from the other side coming. Okay. And so in the beginning, it definitely was for me also like a new area to figure out, okay, now we're not talking about like a small family. Now we talk about like quite a huge amount of peoples building fractions and all type of conspiracy stuff and whatever. I don't even know about it. But then I just remembered, many pictures in my mind, for example, saying that, well, the higher you start to climb, the more difficult it becomes. Because that is exactly it. So what's the problem with all the haters? What's the problem with all of these things? Normally that they drag you down. So something is about, it's getting more difficult. So meanwhile, actually for me, it's like, okay. So the more negative critics, the more it just means, okay, I'm on the right path. So for me, I just try to turn these things around. And on the other side, what is maybe for the people important to know, we are on social media, but we are the ones sharing. We are not the ones consuming. So this is also like the big difference why, meanwhile, it really doesn't matter anymore what type of comments come there. I can look into the mirror. I know exactly with what type of intention I do the work. I receive the feedback, what this sharing brings to the people. And as long as it is like this, there's no way to stop it.
So what advice would you give to a new teacher who's just starting out?
You cannot share what you don't have. Meaning, make the investment in yourself, dedicate the time really into yourself, and make sure that you really possess something that nobody else out there in the world has it in the way how you have it. There must be something where you are confident about yourself, that you say, I have went to this type of training for so many years, I have practiced so hard, there is no second person in the world who can copy this, who can copy me. They maybe explain it in a different way, but not in my way. So there is something that I have created about myself very, very uniquely. So if you have something like this and you're confident about possessing this, I think this is already like the first very, very important step now to also express it. So, and then when the time is right, when the circumstances are right and the people start to realize and actually also see what you have, then I think you just start now and do your work, do your job and share. But in the beginning, why sometimes maybe you don't have the confidence to do it? Maybe because it's not clear enough yet. How can you position yourself that you are different from the other 500 million teachers? So that's why I say, make something unique first. Invest in yourself first and make it very, very clear that when you start to speak, they know it's you. Yeah. So, and when you have reached this type of state, I think the confidence has come there automatically. It's going to be there. By the time you say this about yourself, the confidence is going to be there. Why? Because there's only one way how to become someone unique with some unique skill. It sounds funny, but you have suffered uniquely. So.
What's the question you get the most? And I don't mean in an interview setting, but in general, what do people come to you and ask you, Master Shi?
Mostly it's, how do I do this or do I do that? So no matter what we have talked about, if I say calming the mind is important, becoming aware is important, being able to criticize yourself is important. So then it's like in general comes, but how do you do this? So number one is, I don't believe in big changes able to happen within one day. And if they happen, they are not sustainable. So the first pressure in a way to take away is that idea that something from today until tomorrow must change. If for the last 30 years somebody has lived, let's say, with quite a little bit of awareness only, it's impossible that tomorrow he's going to be full of it. No. Number one is, first of all, already the awareness, the observation, I have been unaware for the last 30 years. But there is another option, apparently, that I can increase my awareness. That's the first statement. Now you say, I want to do something about it because I'm not happy with the way of how I'm living right now. I can see that this lack of awareness is not fulfilling to me. And then you look for, how do I develop it now? And that means you look for a teacher, you look for the right methods, and now just step by step, integrate these methods into your daily life. Step by step, because you have been unaware 30 years. So that means those 30 years, first of all, we have to balance this out. We cannot balance out 30 years just by one day practice. I'm not saying you need another 30 years, but it's not happening in 1 year. Okay, so this is the same way. In the last 20 years, you have gained a lot of weight because you were eating too much chips and too much unhealthy food. So that means your body is unhealthy for 20 years long. Now you finally say, okay, it can't go on like this. Well, 20 years of misusing the body is not going to be neutralized by 1 year of training. Because 20 years you have been undisciplined. Now, I don't know how long. Now comes a time where you have to bear the consequences and the suffering of the 20 years of not discipline. And when the balance is met, then it starts. So this is the way. Always like when you are expecting something quickly to happen from yourself. Yeah, but how long was like the past that led to what you are right now? How long is that past misusage of yourself? And then you can more or less roughly already see how much strength, how much discipline, how much patience you're going to need for the upcoming time.
So I asked you, what's the question that you get the most? But what is the question that you think they should actually ask?
I really can't tell you. I really don't know, because I'm always encouraging people in general. If you want to know an answer, you need to ask. Which is also like, again, coming to this point, that all of the things that like we are sharing out also now through the podcast, through the interviews and all of these things, you know, they are freely available. Which means we don't have something in the whole line of generations and of traditions where we are saying, come to us, we have the answers. Come to me, I have the answer. It has never happened in the whole line of the history of this tradition. The people that are contacting us, the people that are hearing our messages, somewhere in their life, they have started to ask the questions. Also, like you mentioned in the beginning, there is an algorithm, of course. But how does the algorithm know your interests? So somewhere in any type of search engine, you must have put a question. You must have searched for something. That's why the algorithm knows.
Or just listening through your microphone.
Yeah, but then even then you have mentioned that word, awareness.
Yeah.
So no matter what. So why sometimes these type of topics or whatever pop up on your phone, on your life, it's because somewhere along the line, maybe it has become time, or you have asked the question. That's why now you receive the message. That's why you receive the option. You can still click it away. Yeah, but this is the thing. You want to have an answer, you need to ask. And this is why I don't know what people should ask.
We told the community that we're going to be, or that I'm going to be speaking to you, and we got a bunch of questions, and I took 3 screenshots of questions that I thought were relevant. The first one, I love this one. So William is asking, what's your opinion on AI and how will it change the human psyche?
I can't take any predictions about future developments, meaning in regards now to the human psyche. How I see AI is, it's a current state of technological advancement that we are having now in our world. Just like we had always technical advancements in many different areas of human history. So ultimately, for me, what I see is the technology by itself, I don't see it as a threat. For me, it's always who is in possession of that technology and what is the intention behind that, the usage of it. And this goes for many, many things. Okay, and therefore, it's the same that I, for myself at least, would apply now to AI. It can, of course, simplify, make things that before you have spent a lot of your lifetime to somehow figure out, well, now you just make it a little bit more quicker. But the question is, quick is not always good. Yeah, like we mentioned already before, it depends on, in some circumstances, quick is good. In some circumstances, quick is not good. In some circumstances and use cases, AI is good. In other cases, it might not be the proper way to leave it to an artificial intelligence. Yeah. So I don't know what the future is going to bring. I don't know how it's going to affect us. But the only thing that I can always suggest is, as long as there are still human beings on this earth where the blood is running through the veins, there are still a lot of unsolved questions that all cultures and all generations have always asked about ourselves. And if the world out there is getting too crazy, then just return back to that very, very simple question and figure out, what are you? Who are you? And then everything else out there is forgotten. Because then you are entering into a world which is different.
Tamara is asking, how do you deal with too much distractions? And is there a simple rule to stay more aligned and focused?
Yes. Number one is already the good observation that distraction is happening, meaning that your awareness, now I make it as a picture. Inside of our body sits awareness. And in the moment where our body becomes active, for example, when we wake up, this awareness from the inside has 5 gates where it can just leak out, let's say. It leaks out through the eyes, it leaks out through the ears, it leaks out through the nose, through the tongue in sense of taste, and through the skin in terms of like physical sensation. So whenever you realize that one of these gates is active, you're too much caught into looking what's out there. You're too much lost into the music. You're too much lost into the food smells so good or tastes so good, or so. Then it just means time to bring the awareness back, which means the literal practice of just sit down, don't move, and breathe. Why breathe? Because the breathing is happening inside of you. So that means this is the way of how to bring back very quickly the awareness into yourself. It's like right now, we can talk about the airships and about the wars and about everything. But in the moment where I say, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in, no matter where your thoughts have been before, in the moment where you say to yourself, I'm breathing in, it's directly back, no matter what. Yeah. So this is like why we say the breath has so much power, because it's so direct. Yeah. Because you're not breathing out there, you're breathing as an exchange. And so observing when your awareness is getting lost. And then second of all, having an anchor to bring it back. And then continuously to practice, which means calming practices, meditative practices, to just calm yourself down, to catch yourself back, in order for you to more and more get a better sensation and feeling already of yourself when the awareness is about to leak out again.
Mm-hmm. Marion asks, how can you be okay with yourself and find more security within yourself, or feeling more secure about yourself?
Okay. So maybe you have to forget not you have to, but maybe it helps. You have come to this earth. 9 months long, you were in the womb of your mother. 9 months. Then you came to this world, complete already. A complete existence, a complete life. Now this life is getting some additional information that the parents put into you, informations that come from school, from education, from friends, from advertising, from television, from internet. So the point is, you are being conditioned. Your world, your ideas about the world starts to fill up with all type of content, but this content is not from you. This content is from people around you putting it into you. But because you were small and maybe didn't know about it, you allow it to happen. Which means now, if you look at your life, what are you? You are the representation, most probably, of all the ideas that other people have put into you. And if this feels unhappy to you, if you are not feeling well into your skin, well, you need to change your skin. Meaning, also starting to realize what actually is that type of stuff. What are these concepts, these ideas, these thoughts, these categories that people have tried to put into me, and slowly start to get rid of them. Returning back, I make it simple, to the state you came complete, you are complete. So, and now, because it's your life, stop wasting this lifetime trying to fulfill the wishes of any other person out there that have no interest in your life and that actually you also don't want to spend time with them. So don't take their advice, for example, so serious. What to do to build up at the same time now your self-confidence? Make yourself strong. Make yourself strong. How to do it? Always learn. If there is something to learn how to clean, learn it. Learn how to cook, learn it. Learn how to wash the windows, learn it. Learn how to repair the car, learn it. Whatever you can do, just do it. So that gives you on the one side also that feeling there is something that you can do. You're not like completely helpless. There are of course other people that can do it better, but still it's not about that. It's about as long as you have a healthy body and a healthy mind, there are so many different options in this world you are able to express yourself in. But in order to do so, it is necessary to also engage in life. Meaning, if there is an option to learn, of course you learn. Yes. So, and then merging this together, this learning with, learn also to build up the body. So mentally, you're going to become confident. Physically, you're going to become strong and confident. And before all of this, you have started to release all the chains of the ones that put you into chains that just don't mean anything to you. So cut the chains. And then start to use this lifetime because it's your lifetime. This one, only one time. So stop like listening too much to other people, how to live your life or whatever. It's about the self-expression of your own perspective about how you would like this world to be. Of course, taking into consideration all your fellow travelers, of course, too, that are on this world.
It's interesting to get the Shaolin approach to teaching and learning, because it's not as pampered and comforting. I think you talk a lot about, like, I mean, this is at least how I interpret it, like scarcity and abundance and suffering and learning, and how suffering or challenges are key to learning, right? And it's not something that you hear that much, right? In like all the self-development and stuff that you see online.
Or maybe it's also very fair to mention, for example, it is true that I have some type of presence on all the social media right now. And oftentimes when it then comes to interviews and people ask, yeah, where do all these things come from? For me personally, how I got to these insights, I think is mainly because I have spent my time, my whole childhood and adulthood also, along these ways of what for me is the Shaolin teachings. So that's why sometimes people say your Shaolin teachings or your Shaolin methods, they are so like this and that. The important part is I have to say, it's my personal expression, what Shaolin did for me, how I see the things. Because it can 100% also be that you meet out there other Shaolin practitioners or Shaolin people, and they would maybe see the things differently, which for me is absolutely not a problem because, like I also mentioned always and always again, it's your life. It's about expressing what you understand from the journey that you have walked. And because Shaolin has for me been 36 years along the way, this is why it's my insight into Shaolin. So if somebody maybe has other ideas, okay, no problem. You can keep the ideas and these are mine. So it's just really important for maybe your audience to know that I'm not speaking for the complete community or existing people that tell themselves they are Shaolin or not. Okay, so this is my personal life story. And if some people find it interesting or find something useful inside of there, well, then I'm really, really happy for sharing these things out. But it doesn't mean that other Shaolin people maybe not also have something interesting to say. So just this really important. I wanted to make this very clear again.
All right, so let's go into the lightning round. This is going to be like random questions, and I would just like to hear what comes to mind first. What makes a great teacher?
Sharing a piece of himself. So in the moment, I think a teacher-student relationship is always like the student grows, yeah, but something about the teacher dies.
Interesting. Then what makes a great student?
Come as an empty cup. Come empty. Remove your ideas, what you think you know. Allow the information, allow the teachings flow into you. Yeah. Trust the teacher. So if you say you can't trust the teacher, well, then the relationship from the beginning already is like not properly established. Then I wouldn't even become a student from someone if the trust is not there. But when you say, okay, I have observed this relationship, I like the way how he teaches or whatsoever, and you say, I want to walk this path now, then you need to have trust and just follow. Student means following. It's not discussing.
What is true happiness?
Whatever definition this happiness would mean for someone, as long as it is related to any type of fluctuation of state. So let's just say when you're sad, something is going down. When you're happy, something is going up. If it's this type of happiness, then I have to say, first of all, it's not what I'm looking for. Like I said also in the previous ones, I want to become stable. I want to become somehow rooted. I know myself. I know what I can do. I'm happy with myself. I'm fulfilled with myself. And now everything else can come additionally, and I'm going to enjoy it. But I know for myself already, I'm centered. I'm in peace. And so this is maybe, for me personally, the more proper word, what I am looking for. I want to wake up and just be in peace. Because this peace for me gives now the foundation for everything else to come. You know, with this peace, I can go to Frankfurt Airport, fly to another country. With this peace, I can make the podcast. With this peace, I make my training. With this peace, I eat my food. With this peace, I talk to the people. With this peace always with me. Then it doesn't matter what comes, because everything I make in peace with myself. So this is more what I would say is like it's not happiness. For me, it's peace.
What fears hold people back?
It's somehow always the fear of losing something. So meaning losing something also in terms of fear of the unknown. So what are you losing? The known. Fear of the uncomfortable. What are you losing? Yeah, being comfortable. Yeah, fear of... Yes, this is where I see where this fear is based upon. So it's that resistance. It's the resistance actually against growing. It's the resistance against finding out how big this universe is and what is possible in this world. Yeah, because now just as to turn this question around, just to imagine. If there would be no fear, there would be nothing unknown, nothing uncomfortable. So what does it mean? It means you could already see into the future what in 2025 you're going to do, where you are going to be, which people are going to be still with you. And in 2025, exactly this is going to happen. So for me, the question is, it feels really boring that just what you put to your mind and then just it comes 2 years later exactly the way how it is. Nothing better can come, because what can happen is dependent on how much you can imagine. If something is not able to being visualized or being seen inside of your mind, inside of your world, that would mean it can't happen in this world. So, and there again, I think this one is so big. He or she, I don't know. It has more creativity. It has more power. It has more possibilities than any human being could ever imagine with a human brain, with a human mind. That's why the uncertainty of the future, for me, is nothing that is threatening me. For me, it's the good message. I am happy I don't know what is in 5 years, what is in 10 years, what is in 15 years. I'm happy about it because it leaves just so many things open that can still happen. The only thing I take care about is that my mind stays clear and my body stays strong. And all the other things, I don't know what comes, but when it comes, I hope I will be ready. I hope I feel being ready to enter into the future. Yes, so it's, I really think, a change of perspective that makes something which is like terrifying into something which is inspirational.
That resonates a lot. It's like you control what you can control, but you don't try to control or freak out about what you cannot control. What is true strength?
The ability to let go. So, meaning let go of ideas that you are having for too many years already. Let go of your opinion. Yeah, if you realize the other opinions are also good. So, meaning let go of what you try to keep all the time. Yeah, because we used to be like always, yeah, we don't like change. The average human doesn't like change because it already took so many years to build all of this up. So why should I change it? It's good. That's why to change something about all of this, for me, it takes strength because it has something to do in you must let go of a part of you. But that's exactly the point. If you do not let go, well, then I'm not always sure if carrying on an old identity into the future is working or not. I just think, just as our world and our earth and all the technological advancements are like changing, I also think we humans need to be able to adapt according to the changes that's happening, meaning also sometimes changing the way of our lifestyle, adapting towards to it, changing our body, changing our ideas, changing our views. And that takes strength, because it always has something to do with letting go of what you know already. Yeah. If it is true strength, I don't know, but definitely it's needed.
Mm-hmm. What are the character traits that encourage growth?
You have some mindset, let's say, where challenge is not an obstacle for you, where difficulties in life is nothing that stops you, but a difficulty in life, a challenge in life, a conflict that comes up, everything that makes you actually feel uncomfortable at the first glance. It's nothing that is depressing you. It is something where you actually realize that is the next area of my growth. So to express it. Yeah. So because it's heartbreaking, because it is so heartbreaking, because it goes so deep, it carries the potential for the highest transformation. Yeah. So this type of change of perspective, if you want to see it bad, it's going to be bad. But if the circumstances right now are like this, and with the mindset which is in your hands, you can still transform it somehow. The highest transformation can happen. And this is, I think, the value. This is why, for example, I like so much in the Buddhist teachings, number one sentence is, with our thoughts we create the world. For me, this belongs, for example, to one type of understanding. The circumstances are not going to change. What happened to you is not going to change. But dependent on how you are tuning your thoughts, something about it is going to change. Yeah, this is why the power of the mind is so important. Because it is ultimately outside there, the wars, everything is not going to change, because it's not dependent on what you want. Okay, you can only determine what is going to be the consequence of what comes to you. What is going to be the consequence? How will you transform it? Will you let it stuck inside of you and it slowly eats you up from the inside? Or do you make something different about it? And this is based on the thoughts, on the mental redirectioning of yourself. Yeah.
That resonates so much. It's like one person can come out of the identical situation completely beaten up and like lost, and another person can come out super strong and better than ever, right? What in life deserves gratitude the most?
Oh, there are certainly many things, but to make it like really simple and also to understand, in my view about the world, I believe, let's say, in cause and effect. Okay? Cause and effect is simply meaning you plant the orange seed, you get an orange tree. You plant the apple seed, you get an apple tree. So, how did I become the way how I am today? I am the effect. Who is the cause? My parents. So why can I be here? Why are we able to talk? Because of my parents. On the one side, it's because of this. So, and everything that you can trace back, thanks to my parents, that's why there is gratitude. Why can I do in the martial art field the things that I can do? Because I had teachers that taught me the things. Gratitude to all of the people, all of the masters and teachers that taught me these skills, taught me these methods. Yeah. The friends, the ones why you are still a person today who believes in hope, who believes in keep going, who believes in friendship and all the things, who are like the key persons that you nowadays still have it. Well, gratitude to all these companions that you have met in your lifetime. So everybody will find plenty of people or beings, also animals, no problem. But where you feel like that without them, you wouldn't have never become the person you are today, for example. And the ultimate gratitude is, I think, once again, to this one who allowed everything to happen. And this is why I don't know if you call it the universe, if you wouldn't want to call it the nature, if you want to call it, I don't know. Different nations, different cultures give different names. But there is probably something that we cannot just give a name, but without it, we would all not be here. And so there also goes a huge amount of gratitude towards life itself. Being able to live, being able to see colors, being able to speak, being able to listen to things.
What does living with purpose mean?
It's about fullness. It's about how full do you feel. If somebody wakes up every morning without any goal, without any purpose, but feels just fulfilled, no need for purpose. Okay, but I think in the modern society we find it probably just like a phenomena, or I don't know how to call it, that you have everything more or less, wake up, but there is this discontentment. Don't know what to do with your time. Don't know the sense of, I don't know. And then I think it would make sense to add, just as a motivator, it makes sense to give your life a purpose. Also meaning you're not searching for it. In the first stage, don't need to search for it, meaning, what is my purpose? You have to ask the question, but you don't necessarily search for it. First is you give your life a purpose. So you can say, you put yourself a mission statement. Yeah. First thing is just, you need to keep going. You need to do something, okay, in order to make use of the lifetime that has been given to you. But along this way, things are going to change. There will come the period you do, and then you realize all the doing actually brought nothing, so maybe you will return back to, it's about the non-doing. And then you do nothing again. But then at the same time you realize, yeah, but with all the non-doing, I don't know, I could do actually much more. Then you start doing again. And along this way, you're going to figure out the middle way for you to live. It's both of them. It's not about being active all the time, and it's also not about being passive all the time. It's about being present in all of these times.
What is a healthy relationship?
I'm not only talking about human relationships. I'm not talking about love relationships only. There can be many types of relationships. First that just comes to my mind is, in order that there is a type of relation, that means there must be already at least more than two components involved. Okay? These components then have a connection. This is number one. If there is no connection, it's difficult to determine any type of relation between them. So first we need a connection. That connection can mean that feeling-wise maybe, based on the emotional, on the feelings, on your emotional states, maybe there is something that is in resonance. Yeah, which means there is something that two beings have in common. That's why it's resonating. So if this type of connection is already there, then I think it's a good starting point. On the other side, what can also happen is that in the mind, you are having a desire for something, but the feeling is actually not one of connection that you have there. In the mind, it says, yes, I want, but feeling-wise, it's not there. Yeah. So this is for me not a good starting point. Okay. So again, how do I know if a relationship can develop into a healthy way? I think you must directly start right from the beginning. If the feeling with which you have entered into this relation, no matter what type, if there is resonance, meaning also, of course, we think we know what we want. The question is that what you want, does it fit to what another person wants? This what you want, does it fit together what like your dog wants? And if there is no basic, so if there is no way that you can connect, and after the connection, what is happening then? Exchange. Exchange, giving and taking. Meaning also, if within one type of connection, if one type of relationship, the flow is always one directional, it's not going to work. Yeah. So after connecting, after resonance, then the question is, how do you see the flow of exchange within this bond? And if it is a healthy flow where nothing is stagnating, there is a giving and a taking. From times this can change, but it's there. So there is flow. Then I think a relationship can develop in very nice directions.
How do we keep going when we lose hope?
Either you have very strong personalities next to you that first of all realize you're about to lose hope, and that's why they keep pushing you. Yeah, which means that's why it's good to sometimes have a brotherhood or a sisterhood or somebody you are very close to, people they can sense, they know when your motivation is down and you cannot get up by yourself, that's why you have them. Then they come and help you. It's good to have sometimes a bond like this. Yeah. The second thing is, it's if you lose hope already, how should I say? If somebody is losing hope already, maybe the vision that gives the hope is not strong enough. Yeah, I don't know how else I should express it right now, but yeah. There is really the saying, hope dies at last. I really think so in a way too. Yeah, but if like the hope dies too early, before that, that was not hope. That was maybe an idea that you have, that maybe was like a motivating thought that you had, but it was not hope. Hope is really, I think, really deeply embedded, where internally you don't care about what 8 billion other people say. You have it, and you're going to do it.
What creates a positive mindset?
For me, sometimes it's difficult to say. In my way of seeing the things, it's about understanding that this world that we are living in is simply expressed. There's always an exchange between the left side and the right side, the bad side and the good side, the negative and the positive, the pessimistic and the optimistic. Okay, so that's why for me, those two, they always belong together. And it is normal for me that sometimes circumstances are bad, but I also know, at the moment, but it's an exchange. So sooner or later, it will be also becoming good again. Now I'm a little bit depressive, but it's gonna change. Same way is, now everything is positive. Yeah, but I know it's gonna change. Things are changing. Nothing ultimately stays as it is. So that's why I'm not sure if it is a positive mindset that I would like propagate. my mindset would more be that you are neither stuck in a negative one, but you're also not stuck in a positive one. So your perspective, your mindset would be one that at all times always sees actually the exchange of this one and this one. And sometimes, out of circumstances, out of whatever reasons, sometimes it's more based upon here. But then you also know just a question of time, I move here. So to understand the interplay of these two and accept it actually that also the negative part is part of my life. As long as I also take care that it doesn't stay for a too long time in my life, I can have my bad days. Yeah, because to push yourself in having positive thoughts, be optimistic, I don't know, can also sometimes be like you see people do it, but you can feel they're not. Yeah, they're outside, everything is like from the behavior, they behave like everything would be great, great life. Yeah, but I can see inside it's not. That's also not the case. No. You have to be as you are, based with all two forces. It's just that stay calm, nothing stays as it is. See the interplay always of both forces. And then get calm about it and regulate it. And then, somewhere along the line, maybe it becomes balanced then.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it earlier, but I'd love to hear your like 1 minute response on this one. What is the role of patience in life?
Now, one of my favorite woods is the oak tree, or is the oak wood, because no matter like which furniture is made out of it, it's always is a solid, nice feeling, good quality wood. But it also is one of the trees which takes like many, many, many years to grow in comparison to other trees that, let's say, we have in Germany. So for me, there is some relationship between why do things sometimes need so much time to grow and others go so quickly and directly express themselves. Yeah, because the question for one personally is, what do you want? Big lights, big attraction on the outside, but in the core, nothing fundamental, nothing sustainable, nothing solid, no good quality. Or the German oak. Slowly, steadily, highly energized, highly stable, or this type of wood. So I'm not saying the one tree is better than the other. I'm not saying one human is better than the other. The question is once again, as what would you like to see yourself? What is your idea about expressing yourself as a human in this lifetime? If you say, no, it's my nature, I want to be like the fluffy one who like comes, shows up, boom, makes the stage and then just disappears and then just go to the next. If this is my lifestyle, no problem. But other people, for me, I would be different. I would rather prefer stable, solid, quiet, and just become stable. And just nothing there to shake me off. This is my idea of how I would like to see myself. Yeah. So, and therefore, this patience, in some ways of how you want to develop yourself, it's necessary. In other ways, not so. Also, yeah. Whatever virtues you cultivate in your life, it's not about good or bad. It's about everything has consequences. And if you want to become solid, stable, deeply rooted, there's no other way without patience.
Master Shi, thank you so much for your time. It's been a very interesting conversation. I super appreciate you spending so much time here with me and answering all my questions. I'm also grateful for the audience. Thank you all for listening and watching. See you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to check out Master Shi's Instagram and YouTube. You'll find the links in the description below. And if you like this episode, feel free to subscribe and check out all of our other interviews. I appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.